Hello everybody, my name is Eric D. Johnson, also known by Shine, live right here in the city of Minnesota County, State State. Says the date is early Sunday morning, December 3rd, 2018, time 4:13 a.m. I always want to first say thank all my family, my sport people, team, crew, report. And this is part 2 of the same video. And this is, like I said, it's going to be dated with today's date, which is December 3rd, 2018. It's going to be part 2. Now let's get back to our reading. Okay. Now we had just finished reading Acts chapter 6. So now in Acts chapter 7, as you know, Acts chapter 7 is Stephen's defense. Acts chapter 7 is Stephen's defense. And so what we're going to do, we're going to read Acts chapter 7, we're going to start reading at verse 54. Yeah, Acts chapter 7, verse 54. And it reads, when they heard these things, they were cut to the heart, and they gnashed on him with their teeth. But he, being full of the Holy Ghost, looked up steadfastly into heaven, and saw the glory of God and Jesus standing on the right hand of God, and said, behold, I see the heavens open and the Son of Man standing on the right hand of God. Then they cried out with a loud voice and stopped their ears and ran upon him with one accord, and cast him out of the city and stoned him. And the witnesses laid down their clothes at the young man's feet, whose name was Saul. And they stoned Stephen, calling upon God and saying, Lord Jesus, receive my spirit. And he kneeled down and cried with a loud voice, Lord, lay not this sin to their charge. And when he had said this, he fell asleep. Now we're in Acts chapter 8. We're going to start reading at verse number 1. I'm going to go slow on this one. I don't like going fast. I want to go slow. I want you to get to feel the full impact. Now we're in Acts chapter 8, verse number 1. And Saul was consenting until his death. And at that time there was a great persecution against the church, which was in Jerusalem. And they were all scattered abroad throughout the regions of Judea and Samaria, except the apostles. And devout men carried Stephen to his burial and made great lamentation over him. As for Saul, he made havoc of the church, entering into every house, having men and women, committed them to prison. Therefore they that were scattered abroad went everywhere preaching the word, despite all this trial and tribulation, all this evil, God's word still being preached. Men, women, Saul went to every house, committing men and women to prison, went to every house. Didn't even have no regard, didn't have no concern, didn't care about them, the children. See, didn't care one concern. Persecuting the church. Now see, this is an important thing to remember. When you be specific, in a situation like this, he's not like the Romans, like Saul got into a fight, going to get into a fight with the Greeks and the Romans, but he got into a fight. He's going to persecute the church. going to persecute the church. It's serious. See, this is a very important thing about Saul being the devil. Saul being the devil. See, you persecute the church. The church. And see, the Jews were going around. You see him do. See, this is important. See, the devil. It's important. See, he didn't do nothing like this to the Jew, because they were already listening to the devil anyway. But see, the church listening to Jesus Christ, the Son of God. Listening to Jesus Christ, you listening to God. Listening to Jesus Christ, the Son of God, you listening to God. You're not listening to the devil. It's important. Now let me say this. Now Acts chapter 8. Also it talks about Simon the sorcerer. He was corrected by the apostle Peter. He was corrected. He was corrected by the apostle Peter. And also in Acts chapter 8 it talks about the apostle Philip baptized and converting the Ethiopian eunuch. Now let's continue our reading. Let's go read to Acts chapter 9. Verse number 1. Have your bookmark. Maybe you can have your bookmark. Let's go read to Acts chapter 9. Start reading at verse number 1. Start reading verse number 1. Here we go. And Saul, yet breathing out threatenings and slaughter against the disciples of the Lord. See what I'm talking about? See, the devil, breathing out threatenings and slaughter against the disciples of the Lord, went unto the high priest and desired him, let us to Damascus, to the synagogue, there if he found any of this way, whether they were men or women, he might bring them bound unto Jerusalem. Verse number 3. Pay attention. And as he journeyed, it didn't say morning, noon, or evening. It said as he journeyed, he came near Damascus. And watch this. Pay attention. And suddenly there shined around about him, nobody else, there shined around about him a light from heaven. Let me start right there. It wasn't no sunlight. It wasn't moonlight. It wasn't starlight. It wasn't lightning. You know, we were talking about the light, so we had to clarify the light. It wasn't any of those type of lights. This was a light from heaven. It's a heavenly light. It's a heavenly light. That's serious. That's important. You can't overlook that. See, this the devil. See, the light shined around about him. He don't know who it is. Yes, he do. Yes, he do. Because see, when you persecute the disciples of the Lord, you ain't persecute the Jew or the Jews, but you persecute the disciples of the Lord. You know who it is. He persecuted the disciples of the Lord. The apostles were in Jerusalem. He made havoc of the church in Jerusalem. Now, it was a difference between these people and the Jews. See, these people weren't listening to the Jews. So it was something different about these people. So you had to make havoc of the church in Jerusalem. You know who it is. You know who it is. And let's not forget Stephen. You accuse Stephen. You can send it to the devil, Stephen. Accusing Stephen of making blasphemous against the place and against God, against the customs of Moses. See, you know who it is. But let's refer back. We know about the people in the past, like the Perizzites, the Hittites, the Hivites, the Amorite, the Canaanite, the Jebusite, the Girgasites, the Midianites, the Moabites, the Philistines, and all the others that the children of Israel was told by God to utterly destroy, who were going after other gods. But as he said, the light from heaven is a heavenly light. It's a heavenly light, and it's shining around about Saul. It's shining around about Saul. And in Acts chapter 9, verse number 4. And he fell to the earth. And he fell to the earth, as if he know what to do when the heavenly light shine around about you. So he fell to the earth. Without any instruction, he fell to the earth. He fell to the earth. The heavenly light shined around about Saul, and he fell to the earth. Don't let Saul the devil fool you. Don't let the devil fool you. Don't let the devil deceive you. Don't be deceived by Saul from Tarsus, the self-proclaimed Apostle Paul. He's a liar. He's a murderer. He's the devil. And it says, and he fell to the earth and heard a voice. See, he's seen the light with his physical eyes. Now, his physical ears heard a voice saying unto him, you know who it is? Saul, Saul, why persecutest thou me? He know who that voice is. He know who voice it is. Verse number 5. And he said, who art thou, Lord? Don't let Saul deceive you. Don't be deceived by the devil. Who art thou, Lord? Now watch this. He asked questions. He asked questions. Who art thou, Lord? And then, let me say this. Before he asked that question, the Lord had already answered his question. Saul, Saul, why persecutest thou me? Jesus Christ had already answered his question. Saul, Saul, why persecutest thou me? Jesus Christ answered his question before he even asked. And he said, who art thou, Lord? Jesus Christ said, I am Jesus, whom thou persecutest. Again, Jesus Christ told you who I am. I told you, I'm telling you, I am Jesus, whom thou persecute. Now, it is hard for thee to kick against the priest. Verse number 6. And he, trembling and astonished, said, Lord, what will thou have me to do? Now, before he asks a question, Jesus Christ, the Son of God, had already answered all your questions. The light from heaven shined around about you. When you didn't acknowledge that light, God, Jesus Christ, then God, Jesus Christ, the voice said unto you. See, when you didn't acknowledge that light shined around you for a reason. It's Jesus Christ. I'm telling you who it is, and I'm telling you what to do. I'm answering all your questions. At that very moment, think about that. Breathing out threatenings and slaughter of the disciples of the Lord. And you just going all around. Then, Jesus Christ, suddenly, a light, a heavenly light shining around about you. All your questions answered right then and there. I'm telling you who I am, and I'm telling you what to do. Repent. 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 I'm telling you who I am, and I'm telling you what to do with that heavenly light that's shining around about you. Then, when you didn't acknowledge that light, you thought you were going to deceive me by falling to the ground. Then after he fell to the ground, then what he did? He asked a question. Lord, who art thou, Lord? The Lord Jesus Christ said to him, I am Jesus. I'm telling you who I am. I'm telling you, Saul, you persecuting down me. I answer all your questions. See, a lot of people, they think just because Saul's sitting up in the house for 3 days, blind, praying, so-called praying, that supposed to mean something. Yeah, it means that it's a devil sitting up in the house for no reason other than that he didn't do what Jesus Christ told him to do. He's the devil. See, there's no reason for you to be sitting up in the house for no 3 days blind when that heavenly light shined around about you. You should acknowledge and you should have recognized Jesus Christ, the Son of God. You should have repented. You should have repented right then and there. Then a voice said unto you, Saul, Saul, why persecutest thou me? Again, you being told who it is and what to do. You again, Lord, who art thou, Lord? I am Jesus, whom thou persecutest. Lord, what would thou have me to do? Go into the city. Arise. And what it says, and go into the city. And it shall be told thee what thou must do. In verse number 7. But see, don't let Saul deceive. See, this is the important thing about these verses. Don't let the devil deceive. Don't let the devil deceive. Don't let the devil deceive. Don't think just because you ask questions that make you smart. Because it don't. That don't make you being righteous just because you ask Jesus Christ, Lord, what would thou have me to do? That don't mean that you are trying to do what's right. Because you're going to see when you keep reading, you're going to see who it really is. You just got to keep reading. Don't let the devil deceive. We in verse number 7. And the men, you're going to see, which journeyed with him, stood speechless, hearing a voice, but seeing no man. And Saul arose from the earth, and when his eyes were opened, he saw no man. But they led him by the hand and brought him into Damascus. And he was 3 days without sight, and neither did eat nor drink. And there was a certain disciple in Damascus named Ananias, and to him said the Lord in the vision, Ananias. And he said, Behold, I am here, Lord. And the Lord said unto him, Arise, and go into the street which is called Straight, and inquire in the house of Judas. For one called Saul of Tarsus, for behold, he prayed. And he seen in a vision a man named Ananias coming in and putting his hand on him, that he might receive his sight. Then Ananias answered, Lord, I have heard by many of this man how much evil he hath done to thy saints at Jerusalem. And here he hath authority from the chief priest to bind all that call on thy name. But the Lord said unto him, Go thy way, for he is a chosen vessel unto me, to bear my name before the Gentiles and the kings and the children of Israel. For I will shew him how great things he must suffer for my name's sake. And Ananias went his way and entered into the house and putting his hands on him, saying, Brother Saul, the Lord, even Jesus, that appeared unto thee in the way that thou camest, hath sent me, that thou mightest receive thy sight and be filled with the Holy Ghost. See, it's always good to read. It's always good to read. Like I said, keep your bookmark. We're going to turn back. Just keep reading. And immediately there fell from his eyes that had been scales, and he received his sight forthwith, and arose and was baptized. See, don't be deceived. Don't be deceived. He was baptized, but it's something he didn't do. He didn't repent. See, that's the difference. He didn't repent. And when he had received me, he was strengthened. Then was Saul certain days with the disciples which were at Damascus, and straightway he preached Christ in the synagogue, that he is the Son of God. But all that heard him were amazed and said, Is not this he that destroyed them which called on this name in Jerusalem? They came hither for that intent, that he might bring them bound unto the chief priests. But Saul increased the more in strength and confounded the Jews which dwelt at Damascus, proving that this is very Christ. And after that many days were fulfilled, the Jews took counsel to kill him. But their land away was known to Saul, and they watched the gate day and night to kill him. Then the disciples took him by night. And let him down by the wall in a basket. And when Saul was come to Jerusalem, listen, watch this. He essayed to join himself to the disciples, but they were all afraid of him, and believed not that he was a disciple. But Barnabas took him and brought him to the apostles. Listen, and declared unto them how he had seen the Lord in the way, and that he had spoken to him, and how he had preached boldly at Damascus in the name of Jesus. And he was with them coming in and going out at Jerusalem. And he spake boldly in the name of the Lord Jesus, and disputed against the Grecians. But they went about to slay him. Listen. Which when the brethren knew, they brought him down to Caesarea, and sent him forth to Tarsus. Stop. Now let's just take a little moment. Let's take about a minute. Listen, let's just watch. Now, Saul from Tarsus, the self-proclaimed apostle Paul, he seen the Lord in the way, and the Lord spoke to him. He was baptized. So now, he has been added to the church. So now he part of the church. He a disciple. He a saint. He part of the church. He is a disciple. See, like I said in verse over there, verse 26. They didn't believe, but the other disciples didn't believe he was a disciple. They didn't believe he was a saint. So it's important that you read. It's important. So now he has been sent to Tarsus. This way he from. Saul from Tarsus. You know, Tarsus is in Cilicia. So now he is in Tarsus. He a member of the church. He was baptized. Saul was baptized. So now he's a disciple. He's a saint. He is in Tarsus. He's a member of the church. So that means that the church multiplied. The church increased. The church grew. When that one person, that one body came a member of the church, so the church multiplied. So now he's in Tarsus. Don't he supposed to do the same thing? See, it's always good to read. He is in Tarsus. Saul from Tarsus, the self-proclaimed apostle. He is in Tarsus right now. So let's just take a moment. Don't there supposed to be people being added to the church? Don't there supposed to be people doing the same thing that he did? We're supposed to be getting baptized, becoming members of the church, being a disciple, being a saint. He in Tarsus. He seen the Lord in the way, and the Lord spoke to him, and he became, he got baptized. He went in front of the apostle, and Barnabas declared to the apostle that he had seen the Lord in the way, and the Lord spoke to him. So he should have a testimony. People are supposed to be added to the church. The church supposed to multiply. The church supposed to increase. People supposed to be turning to the Lord. He in Tarsus. But do you see any of that? No. See, it's always important to read. Now let's continue to read. We in verse 31. See, watch this. Verse 31, watch. Then had the churches rest throughout all Judea and Galilee and Samaria, and were edified, and walking in the fear of the Lord, and in the comfort of the Holy Ghost, and were multiplied. See, It's always important to read, and they will multiply. So that means that these churches throughout all Judea and Galilee and Samaria, they were multiplying. People were repentant. People were being baptized and being added to the church throughout all Judea and Galilee and Samaria. But yet it's still Saul from Tarsus, the self-proclaimed apostle Paul, who seen the Lord in the way, and the Lord has spoke to him on the road to Damascus, who was baptized. Ananias laid hands on him. He seen in the vision that Ananias was going to come and lay hands on him so he could receive his sight. When Ananias laid hands on him and said, Brother Saul, he was baptized. He is in Tarsus. Nobody is being added to the church. The church is not multiplying. The church is not increasing. See, it's always important to read. It comes back. He the devil. Saul from Tarsus, the self-proclaimed apostle Paul, the one who said he's an apostle of Jesus Christ. He the devil. He the devil. That's how you know he the devil. We're in verse 32. And it came to pass, as Peter passed throughout all quarters, he came down also to the saints which dwelt in Lydda. And there he found a certain man named Aeneas, which had kept his bed 8 years and was sick of the palsy. And Peter said unto him, Aeneas, Jesus Christ maketh thee whole, arise and make thy bed. And he arose immediately. And all that dwelt at Lydda and Sarah saw him and turned to the Lord. And turned to the Lord. But yet it's still Saul from Tarsus, the self-proclaimed apostle Paul. He is in Tarsus. You don't hear nobody turning to the Lord. Not one. Not one person turned to the Lord. He the devil. We're in verse 36. Now there was a Joppa, a certain disciple named Tabitha, which by interpretation is called Dorcas. This one was full of good works and on deeds which she did. And it came to pass in those days that she was sick and died, whom when they had washed, they laid her in the upper chamber. And forasmuch as Lydda was nigh to Joppa, and the disciples had heard that Peter was there, they sent unto him 2 men desiring him that he would not delay to come to them. Then Peter arose and went with them. When he was come, they brought him into the upper chamber, and all the widows stood by him weeping, and shewing the coats and garments which Dorcas made while she was with them. But Peter put them all forth and kneeled down and prayed, and turning him to the body said, Tabitha, arise. And she opened her eyes, and when she saw Peter, she sat up. And he gave her his hand and lifted her up. And when he had called the saints and widows, presented her alive. And it was known throughout all Joppa, and many believed in the Lord. And it came to pass that he tarried many days in Joppa with one Simon a tanner. You hear all of these things. But Saul from Tarsus, the self-proclaimed apostle Paul, is in Tarsus. And you don't hear not one person, not one, turning to the Lord. Not one person being baptized, not one. Not one. Saul from Tarsus, the self-proclaimed apostle Paul, the one that said he's an apostle of Jesus Christ. He the devil. He the devil. Now, Acts chapter 10. It's Peter, the apostle Peter's vision. And you know apostle Peter's vision is about you know the apostle Peter was brought up to be a Jew, he had never eaten anything besides except according to the Jewish law. So God told him in a vision, said, Peter, look, don't say that anything is coming. Whatever it is that you want to eat whatever, eat. So, that's the Apostle Peter's vision. We can, read the Apostle Peter's vision at your own time. Time won't permit me to, But it continues in Acts chapter 11, at the beginning of Acts chapter 11. Now I'm going to read Acts chapter 11. I'm going to start reading at verse 19. And it reads, Now they which were scattered abroad upon the persecution that arose about Stephen traveled as far as Phoenicia and Cyprus and Antioch, preaching the word to none but unto the Jews only. And some of them were men of Cyprus and Cyrene, which, when they were come to Antioch, spake unto the Grecians, preaching the Lord Jesus. And the hand of the Lord was with them. And a great number, watch this, pay attention, and a great number believed and turned unto the Lord. However, Saul, he from Tarsus, and he's a self-proclaimed apostle of Jesus Christ. You understand? He seen the Lord in a way, and the Lord spoke to him. Ananias was sent to him by Jesus Christ, the Son of God. And Ananias laid hands on him, and he was baptized. He was baptized. And after being baptized, he went in front of the apostles. And Barnabas declared to the apostle how he had seen the Lord and the way how the Lord spoke to him. He ended up getting sent to Tarsus, where he from. As of right now, he's still over there in Tarsus. Saul from Tarsus, the self-proclaimed Apostle Paul. He in Tarsus. Nobody's turning to the Lord. Nobody's being baptized. The church is not multiplying. The church is not increasing. Not one person. Not one. He the devil. He the devil. Verse 22. Then tidings of these things came into the ears of the church, which was in Jerusalem, and they sent forth Barnabas, that he should go as far as Antioch, who, when he came and had seen the grace of God, was glad and exhorted them all that with purpose of heart they would cleave unto the Lord. Now let me just take them before Barnabas went to Antioch. Let me say, Jesus Christ, the Son of God, never said Christian or Christian. Let me do it. Just to make it clear. Jesus Christ, the Son of God, never said Christian or Christian. He never said it. He never even told his apostles to say Christian or Christian. The apostles that Jesus Christ chose never said Christian or Christian. Never said that. Never said. The elders of the church in Jerusalem, they were appointed by the apostles who had been chosen by Jesus Christ the Son of God. Never said that. They ain't never said no Christian or Christian. The church in Jerusalem never said that. They ain't never said no Christian or Christian. So now here it is, Barnabas, been sent by the church in Jerusalem. Never said Christian or Christian. So let's continue our reading. Okay, we're in verse 23. Who, when he came, had seen the grace of God, was glad and exhorted them all that were purpose of heart, that would cleave unto the Lord. For he was a good man and full of the Holy Ghost and faith. And much people was added unto the Lord. See what I'm talking about? See, these are things that you just can't overlook. You don't never forget that Saul from Tarsus, the self-proclaimed Apostle Paul, is in Tarsus. And you're not hearing these things about the people in Tarsus while Saul is in Tarsus. He the devil. You can't be in Tarsus. You can't get sent. You can't get sent to Tarsus. And you've seen the Lord in the way, and the Lord spoke to you. And you were baptized. And not one person be added to the church. Not one. You is the devil. And all that evil you had done, all that evil, you still doing evil. It's just as evil for these people to be in Tarsus and to have him sitting around, he the devil, and not hear God's word. It's just as evil. It's just as evil. You see how all these people being added to the church of the Lord, being added to the Lord, because people are coming to them like all these Jews, as it said in what verse that? In the great one, and it says right here. Right, it says, and some of them, okay, it says right here, verse 19, it said, preaching the word to none, but unto the Jews only. And it said, and some of them were men of Cyprus, which when they were come to Antioch, speaking to the Grecians, preaching the Lord Jesus. You see that? Preaching the Lord, and listen, watch what it says. And the hand of the Lord was with them, and a great number believed and turned to the Lord. Now, how is it that you can hear that about the people in Antioch, but you got a person, supposed to be a person, who seen the Lord in the way, and the Lord spoke to him, and seen in a vision the Lord Jesus Christ sending Ananias to him to lay hands on him so he received his sight. And then when Ananias actually came to him in that house, he was baptized. Ananias said, laid hands on him and said, Brother Saul. He was baptized. You don't hear nobody in Tarsus turning to the Lord. That's evil. Don't you see how evil this person is? Don't you see that's just as evil as the evil Saul had done to the church in Jerusalem? That's just as evil. Because he the devil. He the devil. Now we're going to continue our reading verse 25. Then departed Barnabas to Tarsus for to seek Saul. Now let me say this. Like I've been saying, this is during the first century. It's during the first century. And see, I always encourage people to, think in your mind how Barnabas would travel. The time, the distance. How would you travel in the first century? From Antioch to Tarsus. How would you travel? What type of mathematical formula would Barnabas have to use to make preparations? To make preparations to travel from Antioch to Tarsus. And remember, Saul has been over in Tarsus all this time. There's not even a church to meet and greet Barnabas, because the church in Jerusalem has not even been hearing from Saul. See, you can't overlook these things. Saul is the devil. He's the devil. Not one person, not one person been added to the church. The church is not multiplied. The church is not increased in Tarsus. And it said, going to seek Saul. You got to go seek Saul. See? So now we're in verse 26. And let me say this. Let me add this. See, in verse 26, you remember it said how he going to come from Tarsus to Antioch and go teach the people. So while he been over in Tarsus, what? He hasn't been teaching the people in Tarsus. He hasn't been teaching the people in Tarsus. See, these are things that you have to, when you read, then you start seeing that Saul is the devil. Saul is the devil. See, that's how you know he's the devil. You're going to see. Now we're in verse 26. And when he had found him, he had to go find him. Barnabas had to go find Saul. We don't know how long that took. See, he brought him unto Antioch. And it came to pass that a whole year they assembled themselves with the church and taught much people. Don't forget, now he is in Antioch. Now he's teaching the people. See? And the disciples were called Christians first in Antioch. Oh, wait, stop right there. See, don't forget. Nowhere in the Bible have you ever seen the word Christian or Christian. When Saul left Tarsus and came to Antioch, that's who said it. Don't forget, Jesus Christ, the Son of God, is the head of the church. He the head of the church. See? Not one time did Jesus Christ ever tell the church, you as a Christian or Christians. Never said it. Never said it. He never even told his apostle to ever say that the church, Christians, the devil said that Saul from Tarsus, the self-proclaimed apostle Paul, that's who said it. It's the devil. Now, let me make sure. So don't want everybody to see that it was Saul. You remember Barnabas, before he even came to Antioch, you never heard that. When Barnabas came to Antioch, you never heard nobody say Christian or Christians. When Barnabas went over to Tarsus, and Tarsus is in Cilicia, he brought Saul back from Tarsus, which is in Cilicia, to Antioch. And then you heard what? What you heard? You heard an insult. You heard the disciples being called Christian. The disciples Jesus Christ, the Son of God, never said it. Never said it. It's the devil, Saul. That's who said it. That's who said it. That's who said it. See, this is what we be talking about. This is what about devil worship, about organized crime, listening to the devil. You see what the devil did? See, this is what the devil has done even to people in ancient times. You see what the devil did? You see what the devil? He said he called the followers of Jesus Christ, the Son of God, called them Christians. You see what the devil do? See, he ain't go over there and call the Jews Christians, but he specifically said, directed an insult to the followers of Jesus Christ, the Son of God, called the disciples Christians. That's what he said. But always remember, that ain't what Jesus, that's not what Jesus Christ said about his followers, about the church. He never said that. Never said it. Now this is important. Verse 27. Verse 27. And in these days came prophets from Jerusalem unto Antioch. Let me stop just for a moment. Now, we're talking about that prophets. Now, we know in the Old Testament, there are many places in the Old Testament, prophets. Now, specifically, see, this is really what I see in the New Testament about the disciples. Disciples. See, the disciples, that's who were prophets. That's who were prophets. They weren't just one. There were many, as it said. Verse 27 said, what? And in these days came prophets with an S from Jerusalem unto Antioch. So it was more than one. It was more than one. There were many prophets. Many prophets. And they were the church. They were disciples. They were saints. That's the point that's being made. They were the church. They were disciples. They were saints. And they were prophets. Now let me say this. Let me see. Okay, that's Acts chapter 11, verses 27 through 30. Acts chapter 13, verse 1. Acts chapter 15, verse 32. And Acts chapter 21, verses 8 through 14. Prophets. Now let me Now you know over there at the United Nations, see, this will be why it's so important. See, over there at the United Nations, see, we know that the word prophet is in the Old Testament. We know that prophets is in the Old Testament, including prophecy and prophesy. We know that's in the Old Testament. But like I said, when we talk about in the New Testament, we know it's in Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. We know that. But when we talk about the book of Acts, see, we talking about the church, the followers of Jesus Christ, the Son of God. That one and only church, the real, true church. When you said prophet, prophets, you talking about the church. You talking about the disciples. You talking about the saints. See, that's important. That makes a big difference. See, you're not talking about just a loose band of prophets. Like, let me say that in the Old Testament, just, you got different books. Prophet, prophets. But when we talk about the book of Acts, we talking about the same group of individuals, of people. The church. We talking about the church. When you say prophets, you talking about the church in Jerusalem, including the apostles. What make you think the apostles? I mean, Jesus Christ been teaching them and talking to them and all that. See? So they're the prophets. Prophet, singular prophets. You talking about the church. You talking about the disciples. You talking about the saints. See, this is important at the United Nations. When you talk about these places in the book of Acts, Acts chapter 11, verses 27 through 30. Acts chapter 13, verse number 1. Acts chapter 15, verse number 32. And Acts chapter 21, verses 8 through 14. When you read these verses, you talking about the disciples. You talking about the saints. And it wasn't just no one. You see, it's important. It's important. Now let's continue our reading. Okay, we in verse 27. And in these days came prophets from Jerusalem unto Antioch. And there stood up one of them named Agabus, and signified by the Spirit that there should be great dearth throughout all the world, which came to pass in the days of Claudius Caesar. Then the disciples, every man according to his ability, determined to send relief unto the brethren which dwelt in Judea, which also they did, and sent it to the elders by the hands of Barnabas and Saul. Now, like I said, let me go here to Acts chapter 13, verse number 1. Now there were in the church, there was at Antioch certain prophets and teachers, as Barnabas and Simeon that was called Niger, and Lucius of Cyrene, and Manaen, which had been brought up with Herod the Tetrarch and Saul. See what I'm talking about? It's all, the person. But see, you see what it's talking about? It's talking about the church, the disciples, the saints. So let's go over to Acts chapter 15. Now don't forget that Acts chapter 13, Saul's name changed. Acts 13, verse number 9. His name changed from Saul to Paul. And then Acts chapter 13, verse 13. John Mark went back to Jerusalem. See, that's important. Now we know that it don't say specific. John Mark went back and went into, but we know that John Mark, after Acts chapter 11, the disciples had been called Christians. Then in Acts chapter 13, verse 13, John Mark went back to Jerusalem. See, it's a sequence of events. Now let's go over to Acts chapter 15. Start reading verse number 1. In Acts chapter 15, we'll start reading verse number 1. And certain men which came down from Judea taught the brethren and said, except ye be circumcised after the manner of Moses, ye cannot be saved. Verse number 2. When therefore Paul and Barnabas had no small dissension disputation with them, they determined that Paul and Barnabas and certain other of them should go up to Jerusalem to the apostles and elders not to spread. See, that was the end of all that Christian stuff anyway. That was the end of it. See? Verse number 3. And being brought on their way by the church, they passed through Phoenicia and Samaria, declaring the conversion of the Gentiles. And they caused great joy to all the brethren when they would come to Jerusalem. They were received of the church and of the apostles and the elders, and they declared all things that God had done with them. There arose up certain of the sect of the Pharisees which believed, saying that it was legal to circumcise them and to command them to keep the law of Moses. And the apostles and elders came together for to consider of this matter. And when there had been much disputed, Peter rose up and said unto them, men and brethren, ye know how that a good while ago God made choice among us that the Gentiles by my mouth shall hear the word of the gospel and believe in God, which knoweth the hearts, bear them witness, giving them the Holy Ghost, even as he did unto us, and put no difference between us and them, purifying their hearts by faith. Now therefore, why tempt ye God to put a yoke upon the neck of the disciples, which neither our fathers nor we were able to bear? But we believe that through the grace of the Lord Jesus Christ we shall be saved, even as they. Then all the multitude kept silence and gave audience to Barnabas and Paul, declaring what miracles and wonders God had wrought among the Gentiles by them. And after that, they had held their peace. James answered, saying, men and brethren, hearken unto me. Simeon hath declared how God at the first did visit the Gentiles to take out of them a people for his name. And to this agree the words of the prophet as it is written. After this I will return and will build again the tabernacle of David, which is fallen down, and I will build again the ruins thereof, and I will set it up, that the residue of men might seek after the Lord, and all the Gentiles upon whom my name is called, saith the Lord, who doeth all these things. Known unto God are all his works from the beginning of the world, wherefore my sins is that we trouble not them which from among the Gentiles turn to God, but that we write unto them that they abstain from pollutions of idols, and from fornication, and from things strangled, and from blood. For Moses of old time hath in every city of them that preach him, being read in the synagogue every Sabbath day. Then pleased it the apostles and elders with the whole church to send chosen men of their own company to Antioch, with Paul and Barnabas named Judas, surnamed Barsabbas, and Silas, chief men among the brethren. See, that was the end of that Christian stuff anyway. See, this is the reason why I keep telling you. This is the reason why I keep being said over and over again. This is the reason why I keep saying that when you say that the Apostle Peter told you to say you're a Christian, that's a lie. See, you don't be reading Acts chapter 15. See, at the meeting. See, you don't be reading Acts chapter 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15. See, you don't be reading the scripture. The Apostle Peter, after this meeting, did not tell anybody. Nowhere in Acts do you see the Apostle Peter telling anybody to say they are Christian. You don't see none of the elders saying anything like that. See, this is wrong. That's the reason why it's wrong. You read from Acts chapter 1 all the way to Acts chapter 28. Nowhere in the book of Acts do you see the Apostle Peter tell anybody to say they are Christian. And then right here in Acts chapter 15, verse 22, that was the end of it. Then please let the apostles and the elders and the whole church to send chosen men of their own company back to Antioch with Paul and Barnabas, namely Judas, surnamed Bar, and Simon, chief men among them. That was the end of that. That was the end of it. That was the end of that. You don't tell nobody that the Apostle Peter told you to be a Christian. No, he didn't. In 1 Peter, no, he didn't. No, he didn't. Verse 23. And they wrote letters by them after this manner, the apostles and the elders and brethren send greeting unto the brethren which are of the Gentiles. See, this is important. See, this goes back to when Saul was in Tarsus. Remember when he was in Tarsus? See, watch this. The apostles and the elders and brethren send greeting unto the brethren. Now you see, watch this. Unto the brethren, listen, which are of the Gentiles in Antioch. That's in Syria. Anyway, you know, Antioch is in Syria. And Syria. And listen. And Cilicia. And Cilicia. Tarsus is in Cilicia. And it's because of Barnabas. See, you have to see, this is how you have to understand that Saul is the devil. The reason why they are brethren in Cilicia, in Tarsus, which is in Cilicia, is because of Barnabas. It's because of Barnabas. Saul is the devil. For as much as we have heard that certain which went out from us have troubled you with words, subvert your souls, saying, ye must be circumcised and keep the law. To whom they gave no such commandment, it seemed good unto us, being assembled with one accord, to send chosen men unto you, with our beloved Barnabas and Paul, men that have hazarded their lives for the name of our Lord Jesus Christ. We have sent therefore Judas and Silas, who shall also tell you the same thing by mouth. For it seemed good to the Holy Ghost and to us to lay upon you no greater burden than these necessary things, that ye abstain from meats offered to idols, and from blood, and from things strangled, and from fornication, from which if you keep yourself, ye shall do well, fare ye well. So when they were dismissed, they came to Antioch. Listen, pay attention. And when they had gathered the multitude together, they delivered the epistle, which when they had read, they rejoiced for the consolation. Now pay attention. And Judas and Silas, being prophets, also themselves, they exhorted the brethren with many words and confirmed them. See, you talking about the same church, the disciples, the saints. Judas and Silas were prophets. See? And after they had teared their spirit, they were let go. in peace from the brethren unto the apostle. Notwithstanding, it pleased Silas to abide there still. Paul also and Barnabas continued in Antioch, teaching and preaching the word of the Lord with many others also. And some days after, Paul said unto Barnabas, let us go again and visit our brethren in every city where we have preached the word of the Lord, and see how they do. And Barnabas determined to take with them gentlemen whose surname was Mark. But Paul thought not good to take him with them, who departed from them from Pamphylia. Remember, that's in Acts chapter 13, verse 13. And went not with them to the work. And the contention was so sharp between them that they departed asunder one from the other. And so Barnabas took Mark and sailed unto Cyprus. And Paul chose Silas and departed, being recommended by the brethren to the grace of God. And they went through Syria and Cilicia, confirming the churches. So, all that stuff talking about being a Christian, you can't say that about the Apostle Peter. You can't say that the Apostle Peter in 1 Peter chapter 4 verse 6, they told me to be. No, he didn't. No, he didn't. Now let's go over to Acts chapter 21. And it came to pass that start reading verse number 1. And it came to pass that after we were gotten from them, and had gone as we came with a straight course unto Cos, and the day following unto Rhodes, and from thence unto Patara, and finally ship sailing over unto Phoenicia. We went aboard and set forth. Now when we had discovered Cyprus, we left it on the left hand and sailed unto Syria, and landed at Tyre. For there the ship was to unlade her burden. And finding the Cyprus, we tarried there 7 days, who said to Paul through the Spirit that he should not go up to Jerusalem. And when we had accomplished those days, we departed and went our way. And they all brought us on our way. Now listen to this. This is very, very important. With wives and children. Till we were out of the city, we kneeled down on the shore and prayed. Now let me stop just for a moment. Now, there are certain groups of people who practice, they have the interpretation. And they be claiming that God told them this and that. Talking about, you got men walking around talking about they not going to get married. They're not going to have any type of sexual, they're not going to have any type of relation with the women. Because they claim it's some type of godly thing. Then you got these women talking about that's their religious, and talking about they're not going to have any type of relation with men. They're not going to get married to men. So you have these men who are not going to have a wife. And you got these women who are not going to have a husband. So they're not going to have children. They're not going to have any type of relation with the other. Men not going to have a relation with women. And women not going to have a relation with men. That we read in Acts, the book of Acts, chapter 21, and as you can see, the church, the disciples, the saints, the men had wives. The men had wives. And the wives had husbands. The men had wives, and the wives had husbands. And they had children. And they had children. I'm going to keep reading. Till we were out of the city, we kneeled down shore and we prayed. And when we had taken our leave one of another, we took ship and they returned home again. And when we had finished our course retired, we came to Ptolemais and saluted the brethren and abode within one day. And the next day there were apostles coming departed and came into Caesarea, and we entered into the house of Philip the evangelist. Remember Philip the evangelist? He was one of the 7 in Acts chapter 6. He was one of the 7 who chosen to serve tables in Acts chapter 6. The evangelist, which was one of the 7 and above with him. And the same man, listen to this, this is very important. And the same man had 4 daughters. I want you to pay attention to this. It's very important. He had 4 daughters, virgins. Let me stop right there. I'm a man. Let me say that. Let me be clear. Eric is a man. Philip the evangelist got 4 daughters. He got 4 daughters, virgins. 4 daughters, virgins. Eric is a man. Do you think Eric don't want to meet Philip the evangelist? Yes, I do. But this man got 4 daughters, and his 4 daughters, virgins. His 4 daughters, virgins. That's very special. That's a prize. That's very special. See, these girls are doing something. See, this is really why it's good to read. See, when you hear these words, see, this is something that's been passed down. See, this is really why it's so important to read. See, these are things that have been passed down. And see, this man has taught his daughters. He an evangelist. He has taught his daughters. These girls are virgins. See, it ain't just he got 4 daughters. It specifically said a word. It's a very special word. It's a word that God, you know what I'm saying? Just like fornication and idol worship. When at the meeting in Acts chapter 15, when they said abstain from idol worship, abstain from fornication, abstain from strangled meats, and abstain from blood. These girls were virgins. The evangelist Philip had 4 daughters, and all 4 of his daughters virgins. I'm a man. See, this is how who you talking to when you say his daughters are virgins. What do the women in the church when you say that the evangelist Philip had 4 daughters, and his 4 daughters a word? Listen to the word. They were virgins. So what do the women in the church, when they hear that word, what is it that's being conveyed? See what I'm saying? You see how important it is to understand God's word. When you have women in the church, and when you say, when they read the evangelist Philip had 4 daughters, it means he had a wife. Or do we just assume that some loose woman running around and the evangelist Philip then, you know where we're going with this. You know where we're going with this. But it's saying he had 4 daughters, so I guess the mother, or it could have been mother or mothers. You know, the word, you know. But it said the evangelist Philip had 4 daughters. Now it didn't say mother or mothers of these 4 girls. It just said the evangelist Philip, he was one of the 7, and he had 4 daughters. And his 4 daughters, listen, not the women in the church, listen, he had 4 daughters, and his 4 daughters were virgins. You You see the point now. You see how serious it is. The women in the church. This man, Philip the evangelist, he had $4, and his $4, all 4 of these girls were virgins. They were virgins. So the women in the church, when what they say about, well, I mean, when you hear, you looking for the women in church, you looking for a virgin. You see what I'm talking about? Philip the evangelist had $4, and the women in the church, when you looking for a virgin. You looking for a virgin. You want to have a virgin. What that mean? His $4 was a virgin. You automatically assume that everybody know what it. So I'm telling you, I'm a man. You tell me that Philip the evangelist had $4 and 4 virgins. I like to talk to this man. I like to talk to the Philip the evangelist about his $4 being virgins. Because I'm a man. See? I'm a man, so he got $4 and all 4 his dollar virgins. Well, here I am. I'm right here. I'm right here. I'm stepping up to the plate. So let's keep reading. Okay. All right, where we at? And also another important point. The 4 girls that were virgins, all 4 of these girls prophesied. They were prophets too. All 4 of these girls. They were virgins, first of all, and they all prophesied. See, it's important that these things be pointed out at the United Nations. You talking about the same group of people, the church, the disciples, the saints. It's important. Let's keep reading. And as we tarry, there are many days that came down from Judea a certain prophet named Agabus. And when he was come unto us, he took Paul's girdle and bound his own hands and feet and said, Thus saith the Holy Ghost, so shall the Jews at Jerusalem bind the man that owneth this girdle, and shall deliver him into the hands of the Gentiles. And when we heard these things, both we and they of that place besought him not to go up to Jerusalem. Then Paul answered, What mean ye to weep and to break my heart? For I am ready not to be bound only, but also to die at Jerusalem for the name of the Lord Jesus. And when he would not be persuaded, we ceased, saying, The will of the Lord be done. And after those days, we took up our carriage and went up to Jerusalem. There went with us also certain of the disciples of Caesarea, and brought with them one Manasseh of Cyprus, an old disciple, with whom we should lodge. And when we were come to Jerusalem, the brethren received us gladly. And the day following, Paul went in with us unto James, and all the elders were present. And when he had saluted them, he declared particularly what things God had brought among the Gentiles by his ministry. And when they heard it, they glorified the Lord, saying unto him, Thou seest, brother, how many thousand of Jews there are which believe, and they are all zealous of the law. And they are informed of thee, that thou teachest all the Jews which are among the Gentiles to forsake Moses, saying that they ought not to circumcise their children, neither to walk after the customs. What is it therefore? The multitude must needs come together, for they will hear that thou art come. Do therefore this that we say to thee, We have 4 men which have a vow on them. Them take and purify thyself with them, and be at charges with them, that they may shave their heads, and all may know that those things whereof they were informed concerning thee are nothing, but that thou thyself also walkest orderly and keepest the law. As touching the Gentiles which believe, we have written and concluded that they observe no such thing, save only that they keep themselves from things offered to idols, and from blood, and from strangle, and from fornication. Then Paul took the men, and the next day purified himself with them, entering into the temple, to signify the accomplishment of the days of purification, until that an offering should be offered for every one of them. And when the 7 days were almost ended, the Jews which were of Asia, when they saw him in the temple, stirred up all the people, and laid hands on him, crying out, Men of Israel, help. This is the man that teacheth all men everywhere against the people in the law, in this place, and further brought the Greeks also into the temple, and have polluted this holy place. For they had seen before with him in the city Trophimus in Ephesus, whom they supposed that Paul had brought into the temple. And all the city was moved, and the people ran together, and they took Paul and drew him out of the temple. And forthwith the doors were shut. And as they went about to kill him, Titus came up to the chief captain of the band, that all Jerusalem was in an uproar, who immediately took soldiers and centurion, ran down unto them. And when they saw the chief captain and the soldiers, they left beating of Paul. Then the chief captain came in and took him, and commanded him to be bound with 2 chains. And the man of who he was and what he had done. And some cried one thing, some another. Among the multitude, when he could not know the certainty for the time, he commanded him to be carried into the council. And when he came upon the stairs, so it was that he was born of the soldiers, for the violence of the people. For the multitude of the people followed after, crying away with him. And as Paul was to be led into the council, he said unto the chief captain, May I speak unto thee? Who said, Canst thou speak Greek? Are not thou that Egyptian, which before these days made us an uproar, and led us out into the wilderness 4,000 men that were murderers? But Paul said, I am a man, which am a Jew of Tarsus, a city in Cilicia, a citizen of no mean city, and I beseech thee, suffer me to speak unto the people. And when they had given him license, Paul stood on the stairs and beckoned with the hand unto the people. And when there was made a great silence, he spake unto them in the Hebrew tongue, saying, in chapter 22, verse number 1, Men, brethren, and fathers, hear ye me my defense, which I make now unto you. And when they heard that he spake in the Hebrew tongue to them, they kept the more silence. And he said, I am verily a man, which am a Jew, born in Tarsus, a city in Cilicia. Yet brought up in this city at the feet of Gamaliel, and taught according to the perfect manner of the law of the fathers, and was zealous toward God, as ye all are this day. And I persecuted this way unto the death, binding and delivering into prisons both men and women. As also the high priest doth bear me witness, and all the estate of the elders, from whom also I received letters unto the brethren, and went to Damascus to bring them which were there bound unto Jerusalem for to be punished. And it came to pass that, as I made my journey, and was come nigh unto Damascus about noon, suddenly there shone from heaven a great light round about me. And I fell into the ground and heard a voice saying unto me, Saul, Saul, why persecutest thou me? And I answered, Who art thou, Lord? And he said unto me, I am Jesus of Nazareth, whom thou persecutest. Verse number 9. And they, stop right there. There's no they. That were with me saw indeed the light, and were afraid, but they heard not the voice of him that spake me. He lied. Put your bookmark right there. Turn back to Acts chapter 9, read verse number 7. And the men which journeyed with him stood speechless, hearing a voice. They heard the voice. He lied. He said, but they heard not the voice of him that spake to me. See, he lied. First of all, he lied, saying they. He lied. Verse number 7, and the men which journeyed with him stood speechless, hearing a voice, but seeing no man. He lied. Saul is the devil. Now we're going to continue our reading. So in verse number 9 it said, and they that were with me saw indeed the light and were afraid, but they heard not the voice of him that spake to me. He lied. And I said, what shall I do, Lord? And the Lord said unto me, arise, and go into Damascus, and there it shall be told thee of all things which I appointed for thee to do. And when I could not see for the glory of that light, being led by the hand of them that were with me, I came into Damascus. And one Ananias, a devout man, according to law, having a good report of all the Jews which dwelt there, came unto me and stood and said unto me, Brother Saul, receive thy sight. In the same hour I looked up upon him. And he said, the God of our fathers have chosen thee. Now you know, Ananias laid hands on him before he even said anything. He'd be lying. In the same hour I looked up upon him, and he said, the God of our father hath chosen thee, that thou shouldest know his will, and see that just one and shouldest hear the voice of his mouth. For thou shalt be his witness unto all men of what thou hast seen and heard. And now why tarriest thou? Arise and be baptized and wash away thy sin, calling on the name of the Lord. And it came to pass that when I was come again to Jerusalem, even while I prayed in the temple, I was in a trance. He lied. He lied. And saw him saying unto me, make haste and get thee quickly out of Jerusalem, for they will not receive thy testimony concerning me. And I said, Lord, they know that I am prison and beat in every synagogue them that believe on thee. And when the blood of thy martyr Stephen was shed, I also was standing by, and consented unto his death, and kept the raiment of them that slew him. And he said unto me, depart, for I will send thee far hence unto the Gentiles. And they gave him audience unto this word, and then lifted up their voices and said, away with such a fellow from the earth, for it is not fit that he should live. And as they cried out and cast off their clothes and threw dust into the earth, the chief captain commanded him to be brought into the council, and bade that he should be examined by scourging, that he might know wherefore they cried so against him. And as they bound him with thongs, Paul said unto the centurion that stood by, is it lawful for you to scourge a man that is a Roman and uncondemned? When the centurion heard that, he went and told the chief captain, saying, take heed what thou doest, for this man is a Roman. Then the chief captain came and said unto him, Tell me, art thou a Roman? He said, Yea. And the chief captain answered, With a great sum obtained by this freedom. And Paul said, But I was freeborn. Then straightway they departed from him, which should have examined him. And the chief captain also was afraid, after he knew that he was a Roman, and because he had bound him. On the morrow, because he would have known the certainty wherefore he was accused of the Jews, he loosed them from his bands, and commanded the chief priests and all their council to appear, and brought Paul down, and set him before them. Now I'm over here in Acts chapter 25. Then I'm going to read Acts chapter 26. I'm going to read Acts chapter 25, starting verse number 1. Now when Festus was come into the province, after 3 days, he ascended from Caesarea to Jerusalem. Then the high priest and the chief of the Jews informed him against Paul, and besought him, and desired favor against him, that he would send for him to Jerusalem, laying wait in the way to kill him. But Festus answered that Paul should be kept at Caesarea, and that he himself would depart shortly thither. Let them therefore, said he, which among you are able, go down with me, and accuse this man, if there be any wickedness in him. And when he had tarried among them more than 10 days, he went down unto Caesarea, and the next day, sitting on the judgment seat, commanded Paul to be brought. And when he was come, the Jews which came down from Jerusalem stood round about, and laid many grievous complaints against Paul, which they could not prove. While he answered for himself, neither against the law of the Jews, neither against the temple, nor yet against Caesar have I offended anything at all. But Festus, willing to do the Jews a pleasure, answered Paul, and said, Wilt thou go up to Jerusalem, and there be judge of these things before me? Then said Paul, I stand at Caesarea at Caesar's judgment seat, where I ought to be judged. To the Jews have I done no wrong, as thou very well knowest. For if I be an offender or have committed anything worthy of death, I refuse not to die. But if there be none of these things whereof these accuse me, no man may deliver me unto them. I appeal unto Caesar. Then Festus, when he had conferred with the council, answered, Hast thou appealed unto Caesar? Unto Caesar shalt thou go. And after certain days, King Agrippa and Bernice came unto Caesarea to salute Festus. And when they had been there many days, Festus declared Paul's cause unto the king, saying, There is a certain man left in bonds by figure, about whom, when I was at Jerusalem, the chief priests and the elders of the Jews informed me, desiring to have judgment against him. To whom I answered, It is not the manner of the Romans to deliver any man to die, before that he which is accused have the accused face to face, and have license to answer for himself concerning the crime made against him. Therefore, when their word come hither without any delay, on the morrow I sat on the judgment seat, and commanded the man to be brought forth, against whom, when the accuser stood up, they brought none accusing such thing as I suppose, but had certain questions against him of their own superstition, and of one Jesus, which was dead, whom Paul affirmed to be alive. And because I doubted of such manner of questions, I asked him whether he would go to Jerusalem. And there be judged of these matters. But when Paul had appealed to be reserved unto the hearing of Augustus, I commanded him to be kept, till I might send him to Caesar. Then Agrippa said unto Festus, I will also hear the man myself. Tomorrow, said he, thou shalt hear him. And on the morrow, when Agrippa was come, and Bernice was great, and Bernice was great pomp, and was entered into the place of hearing with the chief captains and principal men of the city, and Festus commanded, Paul was brought forth. And Festus said, King Agrippa, and all men which are here present with us, ye see this man, about whom all the multitude of the Jews have dealt with me, both at Jerusalem and also here, crying that he ought not to live any longer. But when I found that he had committed nothing worthy of death, and that he himself had appealed to us, I have determined to send him, of whom I have no certain thing to write unto my Lord. Wherefore I have brought him forth before you, especially before the old King Agrippa, that after examination had I might have somewhat to write. For it seemed to me unreasonable to send a prisoner, and not with all to signify the crime laid against him. Now we in Acts chapter 26, start reading verse number 1. Then Agrippa said unto Paul, Thou art permitted to speak for thyself. Then Paul stretched forth the hand and answered for himself. I think myself happy, King Agrippa, because I shall answer for myself this day before thee, touching all the things whereof I am accused of the Jews, especially because I know thee to be expert in all customs and questions which are among the Jews. Wherefore I beseech thee to hear me patiently. My manner of life from my youth, which was at the first among my own nation in Jerusalem, know all the Jews, which knew me from the beginning, that they would testify that after the most straightest sect of our religion I lived a Pharisee. And now I stand and am judged for the hope of the promise made of God unto our fathers, unto which promise our 12 tribes instantly serving God day and night hope to come. For which hope said King Agrippa, I am accused of the Jews. Why should it be thought a thing incredible of you that God should raise the dead? I verily thought with myself that I ought to do many things contrary to the name of Jesus of Nazareth, which thing I also did in Jerusalem, and many of the saints did I shut up in prison, having received authority from the chief priest. And when they were put to death, I gave my voice against them. I punished them often in every synagogue, and compelled them to blasphemy. And being exceedingly mad against them, I persecuted them, even unto strange cities. Whereupon, as I went to Damascus with authority and commission from the chief priest. Now listen to this, verse 13. At midday, Acts chapter 9 never said that. He be lying. O King, I saw in the way a light from heaven, above the brightness of the sun, shining round about me and them which journeyed with me. He lying. Let's turn, put the bookmark right there. We're in Acts chapter 9. We're going to start reading at verse number 1. We're going to start reading verse number 1. And Saul, yet breathing out threatenings and slaughter against the disciples of the Lord, went unto the high priest, and desired him letters to Damascus to the synagogue, that if he found any of this way, whether they were men or women, he might bring them bound unto Jerusalem. And as he journeyed, it didn't say morning, noon, or night, he came near Damascus, and suddenly there shined around about him a light from heaven. And the same on them, the light shine around by him and them. And John when he said, a light from heaven shine around about him, a light from heaven. Verse 14. And when we were all fallen to the earth, I heard a voice speaking unto me and saying in the Hebrew tongue, Saul, Saul, why persecutest thou me? It's hard for thee to kick against the pricks, but your bookmark him. He be lying. Verse number 4. And he fell to the earth, and heard a voice saying unto him, Saul, Saul, why persecutest thou me? He be lying. You see, he lied. So we in verse 15. And I said, Who art thou, Lord? And he said, I am Jesus, whom thou persecutest. But rise and stand upon thy feet, for I have appeared unto thee for this purpose, to make thee a minister and a witness both of these things which thou hast seen, and of those things in the which I will appear unto thee, delivering thee from the people and from the Gentiles, unto whom now I send thee, to open their eyes and to turn them from darkness to light, and from the power of Satan unto God. You see, he be lying. He be lying. To make that, let me read verse 16 again. But rise and stand upon thy feet. You see how he left Ananias out. You notice that, right? He completely left all that about Ananias and being at the house for 3 days and the scales on his eyes. And see, he be leaving out somewhere. He be lying. Saul be lying. That's another way that you lie, when you don't tell all the information. You know, you intend to leave stuff out. But rise and stand upon thy feet, for I have appeared unto thee for this purpose, to make thee a minister and a witness both of these things which thou hast seen, and of those things in which I will appear unto thee, delivering thee from the people and from the Gentiles, unto whom now I send thee, to open their eyes and to turn them from darkness to light, and from the power of Satan unto God, that they may receive forgiveness of sins and inheritance among them which are sanctified by faith that is in me. He be leaving out someone else. He be lying. Whereupon, O King Agrippa, I was not disobedient to the heavenly being, but shewed first unto them of Damascus and in Jerusalem, and throughout all the coast of Judea, and them then to the Gentiles, that they should repent and turn to God, and do works meet for repentance. For these causes the Jews caught me in the temple and went about to kill me. Having therefore obtained help from God, I continue to this day, witnessing both the small and great, saying none other thing than those which the prophets and Moses did say should come. That Christ shall suffer, and then he shall be the first that shall rise from the dead, and shall shew light unto the people and to the Gentiles, as he thus spake. For it is a Festus said with a loud voice, Paul, thou art beside thyself. Much learning thou make thee mad. But he said, I am not mad, most noble Festus, but speak forth the word of truth and soberness. For the king knoweth of these things, before whom also I speak freely. For I am persuaded that none of these things are hidden from him. For this thing was not done in a corner. King Agrippa, believest thou the prophets? I know that thou believest. Then Agrippa said unto Paul, almost thou persuadest me to be a Christian. You see what I'm talking about? He be lying. See, it was Saul. It was him. It was Saul. He the devil. This is how you know he the devil. Then Agrippa said unto Paul, almost thou persuadest me to be a Christian. They had already, see, you got to remember, at the meeting in Acts chapter, they was already through with that. They was already through with it. That's really right. It's wrong. He wasn't supposed to say nothing like that to King Agrippa. You have to always point these things out about that meeting in Acts chapter 15. That was the end of it. That was the end of that. And Paul said, I would to God that not only thou, but also all that hear me this day, were both almost and altogether such as I am, except these bonds. And when he had thus spoken, the king rose up and the governor of Bernice and they that sat with them. And when they were gone aside, they talked between themselves, saying, This man doeth nothing worthy of death or bonds. Then said Agrippa unto Festus, This man might have been set and liberty if he had not appealed unto Caesar. See, he be lying. And then also, like I said, there's 3 places in the Bible that you find this word Christian. The first place, as you know, Acts chapter 11, verse 26. That's the first place you find the word Christian. The second place you find the word Christian is in Acts chapter 26, verse 28. And like I said, it's wrong. It's the devil who said that it was Paul. It was wrong what he said. Jesus Christ never said that. And also remember, in Acts chapter 15, at the meeting in Acts chapter, that was the end of it. That was the end of it. There was no need for to ever hear that again in Acts chapter 15. That was the end of that Christian stuff. They put that to rest. And then the third place you heard that word Christian is 1 Peter chapter 4, verse 16. The Apostle Peter was not telling anybody to be a Christian. He was telling you that there be people going around trying to get in and everybody, in and everywhere, to listen to the devil. Yet if any man suffer as a Christian, let him not be ashamed. Glorify God. Glorify God. That's what the Apostle Peter is telling you. To glorify God. Christians don't glorify God. They listen to the devil. Because it was the devil who said Christian. Now, the Apostle Peter also said in 2 Peter chapter 3, verses 15, 16, 17, 18, and it's titled, Beware of False Teachers. The Apostle Peter exposed Saul from Tarsus, the self-proclaimed Apostle Paul, for writing those epistles. He exposed. The Apostle Peter read those epistles, and in those epistles, Saul said, he titled those epistles, he said, Apostle Paul, an apostle of Jesus Christ. That's what he said. He said Paul, an apostle of Jesus Christ. He was lying. He not no apostle of Jesus Christ. He lied. He the devil. He the devil. And that's what the Apostle Peter was telling me. He exposed me for writing those epistles and calling himself an apostle of Jesus Christ. continue to talk about African traditional religion. African traditional religion being taught at colleges and universities in Sub-Saharan Africa. You can earn a bachelor's degree, master's degree, PhD studying African traditional religion. Now, one of the books going to continue to be referred to as type West African traditional religion, written by Dr. Joseph Omisegwele and Dr. P. Adenumo Dupayman. Another book we're going to read referred to the title African Traditional Religion Definition, written by Dr. E. Baloja Adowu. Another book we're going to read referred to the title African Religion and Philosophy, written by Dr. John S.M.B. Another book we're going to read referred to the title Concepts of God in Africa, written by Dr. John S.M.D. Now, examples of schools in Sub-Saharan Africa that teach African traditional religion. Dr. Joseph Omisegwele, PhD, Ibadan, Senior Lecturer, African Traditional Religion, Department of Religious Studies, University of Ibadan, Nigeria. Dr. P. Adenumo Dupayman, PhD, Ibadan, Department of Religious Studies, University of Ilorin, Nigeria. Dr. E. Baloja Adowu, Professor of Religious Studies, University of Ibadan, Nigeria. Dr. John S.M.B. was born in Kenya, and he studied at Makerere University College in Uganda. Third New International Dictionary, the complete and total definition and meaning of the word game. The act, manner, or means of going. This is mobile. This is mom. Now, that stupid sorority and fraternity is sister. Now, this is brother. Now this is Oxford English Dictionary. The complete total definition meaning of the word gang. Action or mode of going, way, passage, a set of things or persons. Mobile and mob. Now the stupid sorority fraternity. Now, I'm gonna get ready to end today's video. Again, my name is Eric D. Johnson, also known by BrightShine. I live right here in the city limits in the county Shelbyville in the state of Tennessee. And I thank all my fans, my support for your continued encouragement and support. Now, don't let that sorority, always remember, don't let the sorority fraternity mislead you. That's important. Don't let the sorority fraternity mislead you. There's nothing official. There's nothing right about no sorority fraternity. Don't let the sorority fraternity mislead you. And remember, the United States Justice Department, you know the sorority fraternity be trying to go around, trying to negatively influence in and everybody. Just like that out there in Los Angeles, California, that blood gang, Crip gang, it's the sorority fraternity. You know, there in Chicago, Illinois, that folk gang, my people gang, it be the sorority fraternity doing that stupid stuff. You know, the Justice Department already told you, with the sorority fraternity trying to go around, trying to negatively influence people by telling them, you got freedom of speech, and you got freedom of expression, and you got freedom of assembly, and all that. The United States Justice Department, the Organized Crime Control Act of 1970, Title 9 of the Organized Crime Control Act of 1970, the Racketeer Influence and Corrupt Organizations Act, the RICO Act. See, it be the United States Department of Justice, the Juvenile Justice and Legal Prevention Act of 1974. That's the Department of Justice. The Comprehensive Anti-Gang Initiative, the Office of Juvenile Justice and Legal Prevention. The Comprehensive Gang Law, that's the Office of Juvenile Justice and Legal Prevention. It's the United States Department of Justice. They're telling you it's wrong. They're telling you it's wrong. The great program, Gang Resistant Education Training. It's the United States Department of Justice, the United States Department of State, and all the other departments of the government. It's the United States Department of Justice. They're telling you it's wrong. The National Gang Center compilation of state laws against gangs. It's the Department of Justice. Excuse me. The Department of Justice, the Office of the Attorney Gang, Criminal Street Gang Statute. That's the Department of Justice. The United States Department of Justice, Federal Bureau of Investigation, the National Gang Intelligence Center. You're telling you it's wrong. The United States Department of Justice, Organized Crime and Gang Section. They telling everybody, domestic and foreign, is wrong. Domestic and foreign, they telling you it's wrong. The United States Department of Justice, the Office of Justice Program, National Institute of Anti-Gang Strategy, Prevention, Intervention, Assessment, Suppression. They telling you it's wrong. The United States Department of Justice, Office of Justice Program, the National Institute of the United States Department of Health and Human Services, the Center for Disease Control and Prevention. The National Center for Youth Prevention Control changed the course, preventing gang membership, striving to reduce youth violence everywhere. They're telling you it's wrong. The National Forum of Youth Violence Prevention is the Department of Justice, the Department of Education, Health and Human Services, the Department of Housing and Urban Development, Department of Labor. All these government, federal, state, they're telling you it's wrong. You're being told over and over again it's wrong. The United States Department of Justice, Bureau of Justice, National Crime Prevention Council, keeping kids out of gangs. It's wrong. Anti-hazing lawyers, lawyers.com is the Department of Justice telling you it's wrong. First time you see the word Jew, Old Testament, the book of Esther, 2nd chapter, verse number 5. Jews, first time you see the word Jews, Old Testament, 2nd Kings, 16th chapter, verse number 6. The children of Israel. The children of Israel. Numbers chapter 25, Israel, harlotry, and Moab. Deuteronomy chapter 7, a chosen people. Deuteronomy chapter 13, dream or dream. The book of Judges, chapters 2 and 3. The book of Ezra, chapter 9, in its title, Intermarriage from Pagan, emphasize verse number 12. Organized crime. The Catholic Church and all their particular churches. The Latin Rite, the Alexandrian Rite, Coptic, Ethiopian, Eritrean, the Armenian Rite, Armenian, the Byzantine Rite, Albanian, Belarusian, Bulgarian, Croatian, Serbian, Greek, Hungarian, Italo-Albanian, Macedonian, Melkite, Romanian, Russian, Ukrainian, Slavic, Ukrainian, the East Syrian Rite, Chaldean, Syro-Malabar, West Syrian Rite, Maronite, Syrian, Syro-Malankara, the Protestant Reformation Movement Church, the 95 Theses, major branches, Adventism, Anabaptism, Anglicanism, Baptist Church, Calvinism, Lutheranism, Methodism, Pentecostalism, minor branches, Hussitism, Waldensianism, Plymouth Brethren, Holiness Movement, Quakerism, multiple other interdenominational movement, Evangelicalism, Charismatic Movement, Neo-Charismatic Movement, other developments, Arminianism, Pietism, Puritanism, Neo-Orthodoxy, Paleo-Orthodoxy, Christian fundamentalism, modernism, and liberalism, related movements, non-denominational churches, house churches. It's all organized crime. American Restoration Movement, Stone Campbell Movement, organized crime. Churches of Christ, unaffiliated Christian Church, Church of Christ Congregation, Christian Church, Disciples of Christ, is organized crime. And then don't leave out none of these cult leaders and cult groups. For example, Jim Jones, David Koresh, the Zoroastrians. You know they got a prophet. Islam, the Sunni Muslims, Prophet Muhammad, the Shiite Muslim, Prophet Ali, you know, the Baha'i, they got a prophet. The Sikhs, they got a prophet. The Mormons, they got a prophet. He wrote a book. And Scientology, L. Ron Hubbard. There's some more. There's some more. All over the earth. There's some more. The American Muslim, what they call American Muslim Society, the Moorish Science Temple, the Nation of Islam, the 5% Nation, And then you had these various black Hebrew Israelites. And then you had these Rastafarians. See, it's all organized crime. And see, organized crime is devil worship. Devil worship. See, it goes back to ancient history. You see, it gets concealed and people hide it. Because, like I said, it started in ancient history. The devil deceived many people in ancient history. And so then, you come up to recent years, people try to disguise. They try to conceal it. You know what I'm saying? That's the reason why that sorority and fraternity. You don't let the sorority and fraternity mislead you. The sorority and fraternity, they be based on these secret societies from the whole world. And that's what a lot of that secret society stuff was. They try to keep the devil worship secret. They try to keep it a secret. Don't let their sorority and fraternity mislead you. Like we went over them 2 words. Okay. Oh, there it is. Like we talking about devil worship, theistic Satanism and Satanism. And then now, as you know, there's only one church. There's only one church. The one and only church that Jesus Christ, the Son of God, established. Matthew chapter 16, verses 13 through 19. Matthew chapter 18, verses 15 through 20. And also, Jesus Christ, the Son of God, he gave his apostle commission. Matthew chapter 28, verses 16 through 20. Mark chapter 16, verses 14 through 20. Luke chapter 24, verses 44 through 49. John chapter 21. And there's only one apostle. That means only 12 apostles. Only 12 apostles. We read Acts chapter 1, the whole chapter. Acts chapter 1, verses 1 through Acts chapter 1, verses 1 through 26. Acts chapter 1 through 26 is only 12 apostles. Only 12. There's no such thing as no apostle Paul, an apostle of Jesus Christ. He's a liar. He's a murderer. He's the devil. He lied. And like I said, it's very important. We know in the Old Testament we find prophet and prophets, and then prophecy. Prophecy and prophecy. In the New Testament, also in Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, we find prophets. In the book of Acts. When you find the word prophet and prophets, now there are various verses, but we know specifically you talking about the church, the disciples, the saints. Acts chapter 11, verses 27 through 30. Acts chapter 13, verse 1. Acts chapter 15, verse 32. Acts chapter 21, verses 8 through 14. You talking about the church. You're talking about the disciples. You're talking about the saints. You see, and so like I said, the one and only church, the real and true church, the United Nations. That's what the United Nations there for. That's what the United Nations there for. That's the reason why we have an international criminal court, because all those, like the Catholic Church and the Protestant Reformation churches, the American Restoration Movement churches, and all these cult leaders and cult groups, it's a crime. They committing a crime. They taking words out the Bible, using and misusing. It's a crime. It's a crime to commit. I'm telling you. It's not. Don't think I'm just saying it. No. Don't take action. The United Nations. The United Nations. The International Criminal Court. They commit a crime. Every nation around the world on this earth is hearing these verses. They hearing about the church, the disciples, the saints. They hearing prophets. See? Saul is the devil. Saul is the devil. He is the devil. And people around the world see. They finally starting to see that Saul is the devil. He is the devil. He is the devil. The Apostle Peter, you know, there's 3 places in the Bible that you find the word Christian. Acts chapter 11, verse 26, it was Saul. Acts chapter 26, verse 28, again, it was Saul. 1 Peter chapter 4, verse 16, the Apostle Peter did not tell anybody to be a Christian. He was telling you that the devil had people going around looking for any and everybody, in and everywhere, to say Christians glorify God. That's what a Christian don't do. And 2 Peter chapter 3, verses 15, 16, 17, 18, the Apostle Peter exposed Saul from Tarsus, the self-proclaimed Apostle Paul, for lying. The Apostle Peter read those epistles, and in those epistles, Saul wrote, Paul, an apostle of Jesus Christ. He not no apostle. He not no apostle. All this stuff he wrote lies. They're all lies. He is not no apostle of Jesus Christ. He lying. He the devil. He the devil. The Apostle Peter told you, beware of false teachers. Beware of false teachers. Now, these are just a few of the free logo design websites you can go to make anti-gang logos. Take care of yourself. Come back on my next video. We're going to continue. Take care of yourself. Wish each and every one of you the very best.